Hello everyone, my name is Cassandra and I am trans and heathen. Hey folks, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late about this video. I promised this video, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, it has nothing to do. I like to say that I've been busy. I've been kind of busy finding a new place. It's been kind of rough, but it mostly boils down to the fact that I'm a lazy bitch and I'm not even sorry. Well, I'm a little sorry. I'm not sorry. Not sorry one bit. Anyway, so I got my little bit of a script here. It's actually pretty huge, so this might be split into two videos. So this video is going to be my basically discussing why I transitioned, and someday I'm gonna remember to shut that speaker off so you don't hear that when when I'm recording my videos. Oh my god. All right. So I owe you a video on why I transitioned. What was it like for me? That sort of thing. Um, I guess we should start at the very beginning. I suppose it isn't the most typical trans story where you hear about some people saying, well, when I was real little, I had, I was this and I was that. It didn't really come to me at a very early age. Part of that, I think, was, my parents weren't that. My dad kind of was, but my mom wasn't super, when I was real young, anyways, wasn't super strict about gender binary sort of things. Like, I remember getting a doll for a gift one year because I always wanted to have long, pretty, long hair. And, maybe that is a little bit of a sign there. I don't know. I always kind of associated with the girl stuff a little bit more, but I didn't really think much about it. I got a Barbie doll for my birthday, and I was like, okay, well maybe it's just a boy Barbie, and it went with the rest of my toys. I didn't really think too much about it, and anyways, I don't know. It was pretty. I'm got to get used to this new format. It's different than opening up packs of Pokemon cards. Anyways, so I think the real first time that I had any real conflict with my gender identity, not or well something I liked, not kind of coming into what people thought my gender identity should be, actually came when I was a little bit when I was a little bit older. My parents like I said, first, my parents, when I was young, they weren't that bad about it, but as I got older, like, I guess some of my little more habits started to get a little out of control, and they started kind of coming down on me a little bit more than before. And I don't know why people always message me when I'm recording videos. It's every single time. Anyways, so I remember that there was this book that I enjoyed reading about this little badger named Frances, and it was just a little story about how she wanted to get a new tea set, and I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. And at the time, the only thing I wanted was my own tea set, and again, at the time, it just didn't occur to me that boys don't have. Oh my god. Quick break, I'm checking this. Alright, I'm back, and thank you, Mouse Alchemist, for your excitement interrupting my video. Awesome. I'm glad you're getting your booster box. All right. Anyways, so yeah, there's this little badger who got this tea set. I wanted a tea set. I didn't realize that boys weren't supposed to have tea sets. I just thought this was a cool toy. So I remember wanting one pretty badly, and I didn't really ever ask for one directly until one day I went to I was in the store with my mom. It was played. I think it was McFrugal's. I think the store was called. As far as I know, they're not around anymore. If anybody remembers this place, please let me know. Because I haven't seen one in Christ, a better part of 25 years. It's been a while. I was in the single digits the last time I saw one, and I think I was in California, so maybe it's a California thing. I don't know. Arkansas and Arizona don't have them. They don't have them at all, and that's okay. It was a horrible store. Either way, they were grungy. It was really obvious that this was discount. But anyways, I was just kind of searching around in the toy section, and I found a little plastic tea set, and I was so excited because it looked just like the ones that I saw in my book, and I was just like, I have to have this. And I think it wasn't that expensive. It was like $10, which I mean, maybe in the early 90s that was a little bit more than it is now, obviously, and my allowance I think at the time was like $5 a week, so but sometimes I was able to negotiate things with my mom depending on how good I was doing on that particular week, which was variable considering that I had really, really, really bad ADD, and I still do because you can tell I'm pretty distracted, and I'm kind of coming down on my Adderall right now, which is not the best time to be filming videos, but I'm pretty overdue for it. But anyways, I went and I'm like, Mom, I want this plastic tea set, and it was like the first time she was really horrified by me acting outside of that, blue side of the paradigm, and she actually yelled at me about it. She was like, no, you're not having this. Little boys don't have tea sets. They don't have tea parties only for little girls, and that kind of stuck with me for a while. And obviously, this seems like a silly thing to bring up or something silly to remember. I'm 32 right now. This had to have happened when maybe I was 7, 8 years old. I could not have been much older than that. So, like all these years later, I still remember it because it was the real first time that I realized that maybe something that wasn't quite either. Like, I'm not saying that, if you're assigned male and you like T-sets that you're trans, but it was like the first time I really realized that there was a disconnect between my identity and what's was between my legs. And I didn't think too much of it about then. I think the realization is years later as well, because back then I didn't even know what a trans person was. I barely even knew that until, like, didn't really find out what a trans person was until I was in high school. And even then, like, it was kind of displayed to me as this is like a gay guy who becomes a girl so he can he can trick straight guys into dating him, and that's obviously not true. Particularly me being bisexual and not having to trick anyone anyways, because I'm cute as hell, even though I'm really fat now, and estrogen and age is not a good combination, I swear. But I'm working on that, guys. But actually, new apartment has a gym. Gonna start heading on the gym, so I guess it's starting next month when I move in. So hopefully I'll be in a better shape too. That'd be nice, a nice little transition cast. But I mean, well, let's see where I'm going. And this was actually kind of weird because a couple years later, my mom actually let me pierce my ear, which was a little surprising, but like I think it was because the only reason she had this weird obsession growing up with me being cool, and I didn't care. Like, that wasn't a big deal for me. But she was always trying to find like the latest clothes for me to wear. And I think that was one of the things of having a younger mom. My mom was pretty young when she had me. She wasn't the youngest, I guess, but she was still relatively young when she had me. And so she still had some semblance of wanting to get stylish clothes, not just for herself but for us. And it was kind of the in thing at the time for young boys to have a single ear piercing. And apparently you had to get it in this. I think it was this one, because the other ear meant you were gay, and that was another thing that, like, it was just the weirdest thing. Like, that she just didn't want me. I don't know. Maybe I was noticing something, but she was pretty darn determined to make sure I didn't grow up to be gay. Which, sorry, Mom, that kind of backfired on you. But in the worst way possible. But well, I'm freaking gross. I hate looking at myself in this thing. Let's see. I'm just looking at my script. I swear I'm gonna get this better. So I literally just have this huge. I think I wrote like 1,500 words for this script. It's ridiculous. And anyway, so I'm rambling on again. So let's focus on a little more important stuff. So, I mean, when I hit puberty, I come to an uncomfortable realization that I was attracted to both boys and girls. So, again, bisexuality is probably more common than we realize. And I had to kind of push that away because I was already kind of at the point where I kind of understood. I didn't kind of understand. I really, I got bullied pretty hard for being fairly effeminate growing up. So I kind of, as I got older, I started doubling down on the masculinity. And, I was just this quiet, bookish kid who just kept to herself. And, but that just made, like, especially middle school. Middle school was the worst. High school actually wasn't that bad for me. Middle school was hell. It was fucking hell, it was not a good time for me, and I think that kind of ruined, because I always had good grades all the way up until the fifth grade, and then in middle school it just nosedived. I went from, yeah, well, we didn't have like A's and B's, but I had, almost perfect marks and everything, to basically barely scraping out C's in middle school and into high school. And I think it was just my experience with it was so bad, it completely destroyed any desire I had to, continue on in in my in my transition. Wow, in being in school. So, and I'm trying to figure out how long have I been recording this. Has it really been going on for 11 minutes already? Oh wow, I better continue on. All right, so either ways, that being said, high school wasn't so bad. Okay, the people there were pretty chill. Uh, but yeah, all right. So I swear, I will get this down eventually. Anyways, had managed to. I think part of it too. Yeah, I managed to kind of internalize everything at this point. Like I was just like, okay, cool. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get through high school. I'm gonna get out of high school. I'm gonna find me a girl, and I'm gonna get married, because this is everything that's been kind of pushed on me. And I mean, it wasn't in a very healthy way either. My mom has some issues of her own. She was a bipolar alcoholic, and you never knew, like, when she was good, when she wasn't drinking, and she wasn't kind of in one of her mood swings. Everything was great. She was fine. She was the normal mom I grew up with. But when that mood hit, it was pretty bad, and she would say horrible things to me, and I was never really okay with it. And I don't really want to talk about that right now, so I'm just gonna kind of skip that. And so, I mean, I kind of needed to prove myself even more when I graduated high school, so I joined the freaking Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps was hell for me, which is unsurprisingly. If anybody who knows me personally, people are often surprised when I tell them I was in the Marines, and a lot of it comes up like, well, what's the one thing that surprised you? I mean, the people are like, but you're too nice. Like, I mean, I met some really nice people in the Marine Corps. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say that every single one of them was a jerk. But the Marine Corps attracts a lot of misogynistic jerks, a lot of insecure little men who want to enlist primarily because they like the idea of being able to gain authority and kind of bear down on it on other people. And it really sucked. And Christ, I can go into more talk about military, how I was like, I didn't go into it expecting to somehow be a polarizing figure with this group of people who really, really liked me and this group of people who really, really hated me. But that can be a subject for a later video. But I was just so busy trying to prove to everyone that I can be a badass like everyone else. I ended up hurting myself. Anyways, wow. So, but after the military, I spent a lot of years fucking up. Like my time post-military was not very good. I drank a lot. I smoked some things I shouldn't have, and I fucked up. It wasn't. There's nothing else to really describe it as. I was not in a healthy place. I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't. I couldn't keep a home. I was so lucky that my dad, because my mom was in prison at the time, and yeah, that's another story for another day, was willing to let me live in the house. And I mean, he didn't really charge me a whole lot of rent. I think I took care of my little brother quite a bit. And yeah, and that was, I think things started turning up a little bit around 25. Like, that was when I'd already started kind of putting things back together. Had a steady work. I kind of had a place. This is when I was still living in Arizona. But then unfortunately I lost my job out there. And there was nothing I can do. And then my dad says, look here, come here to Arkansas with me, and we'll get you a job working at this chicken plant, which wasn't a great place to work. The chicken plant was kind of an awful place, but it was also, as weird as it is, I made a lot of good friends there. And it was like the first time I was ever actually part of something that actually felt kind of like I belonged there. Like, I was there, especially I was there for 7 years. people knew me. People all around the plant knew who I was because I think I had this huge beard. Like, I don't know if you can see where I'm doing this. Like, oh wow, it's not there. But it was down to my chest. It was ridiculous. Again, the overcompensating, right? But I was pretty noticeable. Long hair, long beard. People, knew me as the Mountain Man. It wasn't, all the problems I had in Arkansas. I think I still enjoyed my interactions with a lot of people there, even if I ultimately wasn't happy there. But it was during this time that I really kind of started to come to myself. I really had a lot more time because I had money to do things. I had time to sit down and think about what I wanted. And as I was getting older, I realized, well, I'm not married yet. Like, I'm in my late 20s, and like my parents got married in their early 20s. I mean, I know that's really kind of a boomer Gen X thing where you get married young and get your house. I didn't do any of these things, but being a millennial, so a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. But at the time I didn't really understand. I guess I didn't look into it too hard, so I just kind of thought it was kind of on me at the time. Why these things were so much harder than they should have been. But I was really angry. I was upset. I think this would have been late 2013. I was dating this girl. She was really nice. Well, not really. She was mean in her own way. But like the more I think about her, she was suffering from a lot of things I was. I mean, I'm not saying she's trying to say I don't know. We haven't spoken in years, but her parents were kind of bearing down on her to get married, get a job, have kids, and we both kind of liked each other, and we were both so desperate. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like, I don't know why she picked me. She seemed to have high standards. I think she wanted to mold me into something I wasn't, which was part of the problem, and I think I just thought she would be okay. Eventually she would come to grips that I was not a bad person, and then we just had too many conflicts of interest, and while that relationship did kind of implode, ultimately I am pretty grateful for it because it set me on this path to really understanding what was wrong. And sometime after this, I went to therapy on my own for the first time. It's not the first time I've been to a therapist. The Marine Corps sent me to a therapist because they thought I was weird, and that's another story for another day. When I was younger, I had therapists, but it was the first time I just volunteered to go to counseling, and his name was, Daryl Mitchell was his name, in Queen, Arkansas. I don't know if he's still practicing. I transitioned years after I stopped seeing, so he doesn't know any about this, but who knows? I don't know, because I think he was seeing my cousin for a while too, so he might know now, but, and, it was there I kind of realized, I didn't really come to grips with being trans at the time, but I came to grips with the fact that I didn't want this life that my parents wanted for me. And that's really the first time I felt like a real burden was lifted off my shoulders. The first time I realized that I had power over my life, and that a lot of the things I've been doing is because I was doing them for other people and not for myself. And I needed to finally, just do it. I'm sorry. It's hard to describe. Like, I couldn't tell you. Like, when I talked to my therapist about it, and like, he almost looked shy. He's like, I wish so many more of my clients could have revelations like that, because it was just instantly, the moment I was like stressing, and then it just occurred to me, the reason you're stressed out is because you don't want it. You don't want this. You don't want to find a wife and pop out a few kids and have this white picket fence life. That's not for you. That was never for you. Other people told you that. And with that, I finally started to feel better. But anyways, so this is going on for 20 minutes. I'm going to film the next episode right after this, so I have it all read up, because I'm actually kind of on a roll here. But I know people don't want to sit and watch. I mean, I want to keep these videos on no more than 10 to 15 minutes, but this story time stuff usually takes a bit longer. So either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this part. Part 2 will be up next week, same time, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, by the way. I am in Chicago. So, let me know if you enjoyed this. I'm gonna try and come up with a better outro. I have an outro for my other one, which is just later nerds, but I can't quite work over here. So, anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, let me know. If you have any ideas of anything you want to hear me talk about, I'm always up for suggestions because I am an uncreative hack. All right, later.